Michelle Ahan. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Nice work.
Thank you.
All right, it's April the 30th, and I want to thank you all for being here for our somatic meditation / yoga nidra. I'm really excited today because I spent most of Saturday actually really sitting down, and actually most of Friday. My talk is going to be about this a bit today actually too, because Sunday I started going into this kind of pattern of inner critic stuff, and which we'll get into our theme for this month of May as well, around open acceptance. And I recognized it right away. But I spent most of Friday and Saturday all day just really going into yoga nidra scripts and pulling them apart. And then because we've been working with yoga nidra and somatic meditation and fusing them. And so I've been doing that over the last several weeks with you, and really coming up with a roadmap of how we want it to come together, and coming up with a nice path through the forest, so to speak, that's been working well for us. And so Friday and Saturday, I further refined that and came up with this script, because even though I had my path, I was still sometimes maybe skipping part of the path and on the journey. And so now I have a nice script for us to follow. So I'm quite excited about that today. I feel like it's come together really nicely. And I have a talk for you today. And so I'm quite excited about our time together this morning. So we'll start, as we always do, with our centering and grounding then. So let's begin by feeling our connection with the earth. Opening to the qualities of the earth that are available for you right now, feeling the stability, the support, the groundedness. Letting that enter in through your body. Notice how it begins to intermingle with your body, through your feet, through your seat. And also how it starts to affect your posture, specifically how it grows up through the back of your spine, opening up the back of your neck, opening up the back of your head. Probably notice a slight tuck in your chin. So that there's a balancing of the yin and the yang. The yin through the connection, your connection with the earth. The yang through that connection with the sky, as the yin animates the yang in the sky. Your jaw unhinges, your tongue floats in your mouth, and your elbows float, just dangle underneath your shoulders. And all of this allows you to fully inhabit your body internally. So that we're not giant heads floating on bodies, but we're fully inhabiting our body. Feeling your breath coming in to your lower belly. Noticing any tension in your body. And instead of ignoring that tension, just allowing yourself to open to the tension, letting the tension dissolve and release down through your buttocks, through your feet, and into the earth. Just noticing how the phrases of our mantra land for you today. Remembering that I am intrinsically good without exception, and that I have been given this precious opportunity of my unique life. I find ways to engage in daily practice in my everyday life. When I open to the vastness, stillness, silence, peace, and stability of the earth, that vastness, stillness, silence, peace, and stability opens into my body and being. Remembering that my heart is open, tender, and responsive, I enter into my relationships as part of my daily practice in everyday life. I want to acknowledge each and every one of you for taking the time for yourself to commit to your practice today and to commit to each other today by making yourselves available to your community here. And also we acknowledge our place on the land that we stand on, that we sit on. We acknowledge the ancestors of our land. Here where I live, it's the Songhees and Esquimalt nations of the Coast Salish people. We also acknowledge the lineage of teachers, the ones that light our way from the many traditions that we study. And also, we give thanks to the gift of chi and life force energy that animates our bodies, the one that makes it possible for each and every one of us to be here today. So when you feel ready, you can make that transition from that more internal focus to each other here as we transition into the teachings for today. So I wanted to talk this morning about transitioning into our theme for May through something that I've noticed happening in my own body yesterday, last night, this morning, something that's been very present, and just noticing the way that I've been attending to it. And also it's very much tied into this month's theme, so it kind of worked well. And that's really meeting habitual and difficult patterns, habitual emotional responses, and difficult patterns. In yoga, I think we might call them samskaras. Last week, I spoke about how my friend Stephanie was here, and I spoke about experiencing this yang excessiveness in certain parts of my body, specifically in my throat chakra, and also just really being more in my yang expressive nature. You know, we were out doing a lot of things, we were out and about, and that was a lot more yang expressiveness for me than my tending. Normally I am quite more introverted, and I have a lot more yin time in my life. So when she left on Tuesday morning, I found myself really retreating and resting and recovering from that yang excessiveness. And so there was that sort of overall balancing coming in through the rest of the week as that yang went into a yin balance. So if you think about the yin yang symbol, there it's always moving, and it was more a big movement last week between if when she was here it was white, it went into the black last week, just to flow into that balance. There's always movement in that symbol. And what happened is, in retreating and taking that time to rest after a lot of energy being extended outward, I found myself at the end of this week feeling some approaching pressures again. So feeling myself needing to be pulled outward again, so that then the yin gets pulled into the yang again. And Sunday evening, our poetry group was having a poetry editor, a big deal poetry editor come in to review our poetry. And then this week, Thursday, my mom and my grandpa will be arriving. And I was really starting to feel the pressure of some of these impending deadlines, really, to keep up with all of that. And here's where our theme for this month comes in, which is open acceptance. So this was really ground zero for me in meeting myself with difficult, habitual, and emotional patterns. So let's back up to Sunday afternoon, which is just yesterday. When I speak about it, I realize, wow, this is a lot in a short period of time. And when I'm in it, I tend to minimize it. But as I speak to you about it, if it was any of you speaking to me about it, I would say, this is a lot. So on Sunday evening, Sunday afternoon, actually, I can feel this kind of knee-jerk reaction coming in. And it's my inner critic in all its forms. The pleaser, the rule maker is coming out, the pusher and the perfectionist is really coming forward. So I can feel my inner critic starting to make a plan, asking me to buckle down and really get things done. This is the habitual pattern that's starting to come out in knee-jerk response to the emotional reaction, the emotions that are coming forward. It's saying, this inner critic is saying, instead of opening to what's happening with acceptance, it's saying, and this is a kind of protective mechanism, right? You can't keep going this way. You need to get things done. You need to be more productive. Let's get a plan together. And by the way, it's going to be an unrealistic plan that you'll never be able to complete. Well, what was interesting was Sunday afternoon, I recognized this pattern. I recognized this kind of, it was almost as if it was a voice going on in the background. And I could see that what was really happening when I opened to what was really happening was the kind of emotional trauma that I still carry in my body around education. Because I did experience a lot of educational trauma, particularly in my graduate degrees. And so instead of listening to that kind of ticker tape voice that goes on in response to those emotions, I opened to what was really happening. And on Sunday afternoon, I cut myself a lot of slack, and I gave myself a lot of space that day. I recognized what was happening. I realized that, okay, what's coming up is I'm going to be meeting with somebody who's an expert in the field. He's going to be looking at my writing, and I have a lot of emotional trauma around other people reading my writing because, quite honestly, in the past, that hasn't always gone well for me. In fact, it's been quite terrifying in the past, particularly in my graduate degrees. So I recognized that. I opened to that. I opened to the wounds that were in my body. And as I said, I cut myself a lot of slack. And I spent time with my friend Serena that afternoon. We had a lot of fun. We made the vlog instead. We did that together. And I didn't try to take on too many tasks. I knew I did have a lot of stuff for Monday and this week, and it would have been good if I'd got several videos written and the yoga class ready for this week. But I recognized that it was more important to give myself the space to be open to what was happening, to be tender with myself. So Reggie Ray says, each time we look directly at what is arising, we see what really is, beyond our preconceptions. And as it abides in the bright light of its own being. So in my case, I saw the hurt, the fear, the anxiety. And I saw the pattern of how I held back as well. So Reggie says, in seeing how we hold back, we're able to let go and to surrender into a greater sense of openness and being. And so that is what I did. I let go. I let go of all the agendas. I let go of how I thought it should be, how I thought I wanted it to be, and I let go into that sense of being. So on Sunday afternoon, as I said, what was really happening was that I was scared. I was reliving those old emotional traumas from graduate school. And so instead of preoccupying myself by layering on more tasks for the future, which is an old pattern, I met myself with a tenderness there. And I gave myself a lot of space that day. Space for writing, space to go for a run with Trinity, space to groom. Oftentimes when I get in those patterns, I don't even give myself time to eat. And to be honest with you, I didn't give myself time to eat that day. I'm not saying I was perfect that day. But I did give myself time to have a shower, to get ready, to get dressed. And oftentimes I'll rush myself through those tasks. Space to move slowly. So there was a recognition of giving myself spaciousness and really acknowledging how I was feeling. So then after the event and coming home from blogging and the poetry review, it didn't go away. It's not like these things are one and done. Those old habitual emotional patterns and difficult responses, they were still there. They're called some scars for a reason. They're like grooves. They're like a well-worn path. And I was still going into them, and I feel myself going into old patterns and ways of being to avoid feeling them too, So again, my inner critic in all its forms, the pleaser, the rule maker, the pusher, and the perfectionist comes in and tries to tell me to shape up for the coming week, tries to make a plan. But I recognize that I see it, and I see it for what it is, and I just ask it to wait until tomorrow. Like it's 10 o'clock at night and we're just going to relax right now. So Reggie says we must be entirely present to who we are, not some external observer waiting for something else or something better. So when I'm planning and I'm trying to ask myself to shape up for the coming week, that's a form of violence, a form of a violent external observer trying to impose something better, rather than being open to the beauty of what is unfolding in the present moment. And really, there is a beauty in this vulnerability that's happening in this present moment. Like some scars that come up, they're very beautiful because they're quite transitional moments in our lives. They're the moments of the phoenix and the ashes ready to come forward for the transformation. And this moment, as I laid down to practice Yoga Nidra, I chose the Yoga Nidra for body restoration. I really like seeing the ones that you're choosing because I'm like, oh, I'll go back and try that one. I was reminded at the beginning that the opening of that one is just so beautiful. I was reminded of the dignity of the exhaustion. And then, from there, my mind just went to the dignity of whatever we're going through. And it reminded me of the beauty of being entirely present to whatever is unfolding in our lives. So there's a beauty in the confusion, there's a beauty in the pain, there's beauty to being present to whatever is arising. And there's a message here for me too, one that's asking me to listen more deeply, to slow down, to be more gentle and tender with myself, especially when that knee-jerk reaction is to try to override that and to plan more, do more, and especially when that pusher and perfectionist and pleaser comes forward and tries to just really go for it. And, what really came forward for me when I was preparing this talk this morning was, there's no failure. There's only feedback. And there's something that Neil says a lot, I don't know, he doesn't really say it exactly that way, but he often says there's only feedback. So there's no failure, there's only feedback. And with this open and accepting, this non-judgmental, this aligned awareness, we'll discover the depth and subtlety of ourself in a gradual way. And it does mean looking beyond, and these are Reggie's words now, looking beyond any and all answers that we may have found along the way. And for me, those answers that come forward right away, those are okay, you got to buckle down, you got to make a plan, you got to do this, you got to do that. It's time to get your shit together, right? So that's looking beyond all the answers that we've come up with along the way. And what Reggie says, it means to meet ourselves in a naked, direct, and fearless fashion, right? It's about meeting our most vulnerable self, the part of ourselves that can't keep our shit together, right? We have to question our beliefs, our assumptions, our preconceptions, the way we see, hear, and sense the world. Let go of all our beliefs about ourselves, our world, and open up to each moment and the truth of who we are, because that is where the dignity is, and that's where the tenderness is, and that's where we're going to find our answers. So that's what I have for you this morning, and I'll turn it over to you and you can respond.
So I'm Paige, calling from Italy. Several weeks ago, I had a whole bunch of stuff happening, and it was kind of, coming down. And it's really funny because my response, I'm like, of course, I'm not by myself, you're not by yourself. I think many of us have the response to make the list. It doesn't matter how long the list is, just nose to the grindstone, shoulder to the wheel, and get through it. And I had these two things going on. One thing was, don't make a big deal out of this page. You've done this before. This is just how things are when things get intense. You'll live. You've lived without sleep before. You'll live without sleep again. And then there was this little tiny voice that said, reach out, let stuff go, ask for help.
Hmm.
And this one says, really, asking for help with that, what's that going to save you? An hour? Just do it. You can do it. You can get these things done.
Mm.
And this is the voice that won.
Oh.
And at the I know, right? This is not a happy story. At the end of it, what I thought was, oh, look, you did all of that and you can flip out the way you used to flip out. Good for you.
Oh, yeah.
And that's crazy. That's crazy stuff. It's crazy. But the good news is, see, this is the little good news. This little voice was here.
Mm-hmm.
Next
heard
time,
it.
I heard it this time. Next time, maybe I'll pay attention to it. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll go, huh.
Well, and there's more feedback too, because at the end of it, you're like, you actually think the part of you that congratulated yourself over doing it all is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Getting somewhere, having had no sleep for 3 days, is just dumb. Like, hi, I'm here. I'm a wreck.
It reminds me of when I was in labor and I didn't want to take any pain meds. And one of the doctors at the end said to me, look, or our midwives said to me, there's nobody going to hand you a medal at the end, honey. Just take the medication. Like, just take, right? It's like that, right? Like, just take the help.
Like that.
It's all these trips we lay on ourselves.
And there's no medal at the end.
There's no medal. That's the idea and the beliefs, right? That we lay on top of ourselves that create all that confusion. Those are the veils of the illusions and
Absolutely.
yeah.
And if our going through this stuff, we would say, what can I do to help? Let's think, what can you actually let go? You know, I mean, really, we would expect this of no one that we know and love. No one.
I'm very aware that I continue to do over and over what I know doesn't work, thinking that this time I'm going to just fool the situation and it will work, and catching myself when I get to that place. And man, is it hard to stop myself from doing that thing, like to just like almost to the point of tearing my hair out. Like, I really think it might work this time. I'm just gonna, have my little thing and it'll work. But it doesn't. I know it won't. So having not done it, I'm like, wow, is that like, it takes so much effort to not do, more so than doing. It's so new a thing. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the samskara, right?
Yeah.
That path is so well traveled. It's more comfortable to travel it, even though it's painful.
Yeah. It's like something is really pulling me into that groove, even though I'm fighting it and saying, but no.
Yeah.
Man, that's hard.
It is. And that's why we have community, and that's why we have the teachings, and that's why we repeat the teachings, because it's so much easier to just go down that path. that we know.
So good to have the support, because it takes that. It really does.
It really does. And in that loving and kind and supportive environment, because it's human nature, right? It's just, there's like, I really think, I feel like I want to put that on I want to put that on a t-shirt. Like, there's no failure, it's only feedback. It's really not a big deal. It's just, it's not a problem. It's another one we say a lot, right? It's not a problem. Yeah, no big deal. Here I am again. Okay. It's all right.
A lot of recognition going on.
Yeah, that's why this month we're talking about the open acceptance, right? It's the awareness, openness, the acceptance, and it's really, using Michael Lee's words, it's really about befriending ourselves where we are, being open to what's happening, accepting what's happening. It's all we're doing again and again and again. We're just repeating that again and again and again on deeper and deeper levels. Because it doesn't mean that our lives change, because they don't, right? Our life just keeps happening. Mm-hmm. It's just the way that the possibility of the way that we meet it as we continue to practice. I think that's what shifts and changes. Right?
I think we learn to be easier on ourselves just a little bit, and that can make a big difference.
Absolutely. Hopefully, yeah.
Sometimes.
A huge difference, yeah. And when we're not, then we are kind to ourselves about that as well. Mm-hmm. Right? Because there's like that, for me, that was what was starting to come in too, right? A kind of aggressiveness with myself. And then there can be a judgment around that too. But then when there's a tenderness around recognizing, wow, there's some aggression coming in, that's hard, right? But that when there was a real tenderness around recognizing the aggression, everything softened. That's the beauty. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a really nice practice prepared for you today. So it feels like you might be ready for that. We'll start with lying down. It's the yoga nidra and the somatic is really quite interwoven now, so it's quite fused. And so I'll get you to start lying on your back. Through the practices of somatic meditation and yoga nidra, we can experience an inner knowing and a deep connection with the unlimited. And today I'm going to make note of the way that we can connect with our unlimited compassion and tenderness. And when we experience our deep connection with our unlimited compassion and tenderness, the world of limited choices, the world of aggression loosens its hold on us. When we let go of the grip of our limited mind, we can experience our inner being in deep and profound ways. Our experience of the unlimited compassion and tenderness opens us to the wholeness and welcomes our true self home. So, as you know, you can surrender to this practice in whatever position you want. But it's a good idea to be as comfortable as possible, have lots of padding underneath you and a blanket over top of you so that when you cool down over the practice, you don't get too chilly. Let your chin be slightly lower than your forehead so you can relax fully, access your parasympathetic nervous system. I like an eye pillow so that it grounds your eyes, draws it away from the external world into your internal world. And remember, there's no way you can do this wrong. Remember, there's no failure, there's only feedback. You don't have to try to relax, you don't need to stay awake or go deep. And falling asleep is okay too. Just surrender to the experience that happens today, letting go of your beliefs of how things should be. Discomfort's not a problem. If you get uncomfortable, it's okay to adjust your position. And if you feel a lot of resistance, if it gets too uncomfortable, you can always step away from the practice if you get overwhelmed at any point. Distractions in and around you are a great way to come back to your practice. And just allow my words to wash over you. Don't worry if you miss any of them. And if at any point my words feel out of place, that's a great opportunity to come into the wisdom of your own experience. Continue to make yourself as comfortable as possible. Comfort's very important to allowing you to fully inhabit your body. The more deeply you inhabit your body, the more you will be able to let go of your thinking mind. Let go of thinking. Feel the support of the earth. Let tension dissolve from your body. Let all the tension go into the earth. Each time you breathe out, feel tension dissolve from your body. Feeling your body gently unwind. Know that you have an innate capacity for relaxation. Let go of thinking. Softening and inhabiting your body withdraws your focus from the demands of the outside world, where new neural pathways are established, nadis and meridians are cleared, and a deeper connection with your inner self is developed. Feel the support of the earth underneath you. Notice your body letting go more and more into the pull of gravity. And feel the points of your body that are connected with the ground. Feel your whole body being breathed. And sense your way through the front of your body to the back of your body. Feeling the ground underneath you. And then sense your way from the back of your body to the front of your body. And notice the space all around you. Sense the space at the front of your body. And then open your awareness to the space at the left side of your body. Gradually shift your perspective Noticing the space on the right side of your body. And let your whole body be breathed and sense the space all around you. Feel your breath at your nostrils. And follow your breath down through the nasal passageways into soft throat, hollow throat, jaws unhinge, soft mouth. Notice your tongue floating in your mouth. Gums ease, teeth soften, and cheeks relax. Let your attention flow from your cheeks to your ears, and notice how they are capable of picking up sounds far away. And then gradually allow them to sense the blanket of sounds closer in. And while your ears can be open to all those sounds near and far without irritation, let your sense of hearing drop inward, following your ear canals into the center of your body. Let go of all the buzz and distraction, all of the things you listen to externally. Let this time become a deep inner listening. And with this transition, know that you are building a connection to your inner voice, your inner wisdom, and your inner knowing. From ears to eyes, let go of all the ways you track and scan your outer world. Allow your eyeballs to sink back. Imagine them dropping down towards your heart. With this inner relaxation, let go of your outer sight, eyes which flick from one thing to the next outside of you, alchemically transform into inner sight, transforming outer sight into inner sight or insight. You are moving from outer awareness to inner awareness. Our inner vision can reveal things to us that outer vision cannot. And when we spend time in meditation, we can get all the guidance and wisdom we need. We can forget the mindless chatter, the perpetual scanning, the experts and the book knowledge that take up so much space and tension in our mind and being. We can receive the knowledge that comes from looking within through these self-cultivation practices and experience the heaven within another heaven. Open the gateways to all wonders. Relax into your being and know there is so much more within you than you have been taught to believe. Breathe in through all the pores of your skin. Like an amphibian absorbing oxygen deep into the tissues of your cells in a jellyfish-like propulsion. Notice the touch of air against skin. Feel the temperature of your skin. And feel the touch of clothes on your skin. All 5 senses wide open. Breathe in through all the pores of your skin. Breathe in through all the pores of your skin and follow your breath into the center of your body. Breathe in through all the pores of your skin, following your breath into the center of your body. See what you notice. Breathe in through all the pores of your skin. Follow your breath to the center of your body. See what you notice. What sensations are there? Breathe in through all the pores of your skin. Follow your breath to the center of your body. What sensations are revealing themselves? It doesn't matter how much or how little is there for you. Just feel into whatever sensations are present. When you tune into your body in this way, you will uncover all kinds of subtle and not so subtle sensations that you never noticed were there before. Breathing in through all the pores of your skin, following your breath to the center of your body. Allow sensations and tension to reveal itself. You may even notice there is some holding and gripping. Where do you feel tension? As you open into the awareness of tension, you may notice that the tension begins to let go and drain down and into the earth. As you release and relax, let the energy go down into the earth. Breathing in through all the pores of your skin, allow your body to reveal the tension. Notice how the tension shifts and changes and begins to dissolve and release itself down and into the earth. We are going to circulate awareness, your consciousness through your body now. Imagine this like receiving a beautiful acupuncture treatment where the acupuncture needles are skillfully placed along your meridian system to move qi and blood, regulate your yin and yang energies, moisten tendons and bones, and benefit your joints. As you move energy through your body, you will enter a state of consciousness that is both deeply relaxed, highly attuned, and alert. Feel your breath in your belly. Notice your right lung, your right armpit, the inside of your upper arm, your elbow crease, your lower arm, the bend of your inner right wrist, and the tip of your right thumb, tip of your right index finger, the back of your right wrist, your lower arm, your right elbow, your upper arm, your right collarbone, and breathe into the hollow of your throat. Feel your breath at your nostrils. Feel your breath in your belly. Notice your left lung, your left armpit, the inside of your upper arm, your left elbow crease, your lower arm, your inner wrist, the tip of your left thumb, your index finger, your left wrist, your left lower arm, the back of your left elbow, the back of your left upper arm, your left collarbone. Breathe into the hollow of your throat. Feel your breath at your nostrils. Become aware of your right eye, your right cheekbone, the right corner of your lip, your right jowl, the right side of your throat, your right collarbone, your right rib cage, the right side of your belly, the front of your right leg, your right kneecap, your right shin, the top of your right foot, the tip of your second toe. Become aware of your left eye, your left cheekbone, the corner of your left lip, your left jowl, the left side of your throat, your left collarbone, your left rib cage, the left side of your belly, the front of your left leg, your left kneecap, your left shin, the top of your left foot, the tip of your second toe. Become aware of the inside of your big toe, the inside of your left foot, your inner left ankle bone, the inside of your lower leg, your inner thigh, your lower abdomen, your left rib cage, and breathe into the hollow of your armpit. Become aware of the inside of your right big toe, the inside of your right foot, your right ankle bone, your right lower leg, your inner thigh, your lower abdomen, your right rib cage, and breathe into the hollow of your right armpit. Breathe into your heart center. Notice your armpit on the right side, the inside of your upper right arm, the inner bend of your right elbow, your lower right arm, the inside of your right wrist, the tip of your right little finger, the back of your right little finger, the back of your right hand, the back of your right wrist, your right lower arm, your right elbow, your right upper arm, the back of your right shoulder blade, the right side of your neck, your right ear, your right cheek, and rest in the inner corner of your right eye. Breathe into your heart center. Notice your armpit on the left side, the inside of your upper arm, the inner bend of your left elbow, the inside of your lower arm, the left wrist, the left little finger, the back of the left little finger, the back of the left hand, the back of the left wrist, the outside of the lower left arm, the left elbow, the back of the upper arm, the left shoulder blade, the left side of the neck, the left ear, the left cheek, and rest in the inner corner of the left eye. Rest in the inner corner of the right eye, the inside of the right eyebrow, the top of the head, back of the head, occipital ridge, spine, sacrum, right sit bone, back of the right upper leg, right knee, back of the lower right leg, back of the right ankle, outer ankle bone, outside of the foot, and right pinky toe. Inner corner of the left eye, inside of the left eyebrow, top of the head, back of the head, occipital ridge, spine, sacrum, left sit bone, back of the leg, back of the knee, back of the lower leg, back of the left ankle, outside ankle bone, outside of the left foot, and left pinky toe. Notice the bottom of the left foot, the inside of the left ankle bone, the lower leg, the inner thigh, the left belly, the left side of the rib cage, and the left collarbone. Notice the bottom of the right foot, the inner right ankle bone, the inside of the lower right leg, the inner thigh, the right side of the belly, the right side of the rib cage, and the right collarbone. Breathe into your heart center. Notice your right armpit, the inside of your upper arm, the inner bend of your right elbow, your lower arm, your inner right wrist, the palm of your hand, and the tip of your middle finger. Notice the tip of your ring finger, the back of your hand, the back of your right wrist, your lower arm, your right elbow, your upper arm, the back of your neck, and the space behind your right ear. Breathe into your heart center. Notice your left armpit, the inside of your arm, the inner bend of your left elbow, the lower arm, the inner bend of your left wrist, the palm of your hand, the tip of your middle finger, the tip of your left ring finger, the back of your left hand, the back of your wrist, your lower arm, your left elbow, your upper arm, the back of your neck, and the space behind your left ear. Notice your left temple, your left ear, the top of your left shoulder, your left side ribs, left side waist, outside of the left hip, outside of the left upper leg, outside of the left lower leg, outside left ankle bone, left baby toe, inside of the left big toe, inside of the left foot, lower leg, inner thigh, pubic bone, left side of the belly, left side of the rib cage. Breathe into the hollow of the throat. Rest in the left eye. Notice the right temple, the right ear, the top of the right shoulder, the right side ribs, the right side waist, the outside of the right hip, the outside of the right upper leg, the outside of the right lower leg, the outside right ankle bone, the right baby toe, the inside of the big right toe, the inside of the right foot, the inner ankle, the inner lower right leg, the inner thigh, the pubic bone, the right side of the belly, the right side of the ribs. Breathe into the hollow of the throat. Rest in the right eye. Feel your whole body being breathed. Begin to breathe into your lower belly, visualizing a point midway between your perineum and your navel, about 3 inches below your navel, midway right in the middle of your body towards the back of your spine, towards your sacrum. Imagine an open space there, about the size of a chicken egg or a goose egg. As you feel your breath coming into your lower belly, feel your breath coming right into the center of it. Feeling your breath coming directly into this space towards the back of your lower belly in the center of your pelvis. And as you breathe into this space, feel the space opening in the lower belly. As you breathe into the space in the lower belly, allow your body to completely relax around it. Your sacrum is relaxing, your hips are relaxing, your legs are relaxing, your upper body is relaxing. The breath coming into your lower belly is very gentle, very peaceful, and your whole body is making space and relaxing around your breath coming into the lower belly. Allowing your breath to come directly into your lower belly. Letting your awareness rest completely in the lower belly. Feeling your breath coming into this space, feeling this space continually opening up. And with each breath that comes into your lower belly, you become more and more present in your lower belly. Letting go of the outside more and more. Staying with this space in the lower belly. Becoming more and more present. The space in the lower belly opens up more and more. Everything around the space in the lower belly relaxes more and more. With each breath into the lower belly, the space in the lower belly opens. And the breath moving into the lower belly removes any kinds of thoughts, any kinds of distractions, any kind of obstacles. It just dissolves away. So that the space in the lower belly becomes more and more pure and more empty, more and more peaceful, opening out, getting bigger and bigger. So you keep following the breath into the space at the very center of the lower belly, allowing everything to fall into this space, your awareness, yourself, all your distractions. So you keep following your breath in, letting it dissolve, opening completely into the space. And you may feel a softness, an openness, a tenderness, a clearness, and emptiness. Seeing if you can rest completely in this space in the lower belly. Be there so completely that you're perhaps not even aware of the rest of the lower belly or the rest of the body. So everything dissolves into the space in the lower belly. It's a feeling of folding your entire body, your entire being into this yin space in the lower belly. And then you can open this space towards the back of the pelvis, down and into the earth, and just keep relaxing and releasing. So you see how completely you're able to let go into this space, so that you let go down and into the earth through this space as you breathe out. And just begin to feel how welcoming the earth is. So each time you breathe out, You dissolve all tension, you let go of your breath, and you follow it through the yin space down and into the earth. So follow your breath, follow the tension through the back of your pelvis, down and into the earth, opening wider and deeper with each exhale. And be with your body in its process. Notice how there's a kind of unwinding and releasing and relaxing that's naturally happening. It's very gentle, very slow. So you completely relax and let go as you breathe out, opening down and out through the yin space at the back of the pelvis, melting and dissolving. All of the tension flowing out and down into the earth. So on the in-breath, feeling the tension, on the out-breath, letting your awareness go down with the tension a little further into the earth. Imagining that your awareness is going down, and through your imagination, you're able to extend your awareness. Each time you breathe out and let go, you release a little further, your body relaxes a little bit more and opens a little bit more. The deeper your awareness goes into the earth, the more your body relaxes and opens. And as you sink more deeply into the earth, as you release tension, your body opens, and you can sense somatically the space of the earth underneath you. So let your body feel into this space. Stay with the feeling, stay with the felt sensation of the earth underneath you. Each time you breathe out, your somatic awareness is opening to a deeper level. It's still your body. It's your somatic field that's opening, and there's a sense that the space of your body is opening to the earth underneath you, very gently opening and opening down and down. It's as if you're in your body and you open your awareness and let your awareness go down and out, down and out. And when you do that, you discover your awareness is already there. You're opening and dropping, descending down and out. And notice the feeling of relief as you do this. So keeping yourself restricted in your little envelope of skin is so much work. And now you're being invited to let all of that go. And just notice how good it feels to open into this deep and vacuous space in the earth. Notice how at home you feel. So take a few moments, enjoy the space and relaxation and openness for as long as you like. Take your time, check in with your body, and when your body feels complete, you can sit back up. Do you think everybody else is asleep, Jackie? Paige is like, I'm awake. Oh no, Michelle's awake.
And I thought, the last thing I remember is she said, enjoy being in the place. And I was just staying there.
That's okay. I'm guessing it was relaxing. Any questions or thoughts about that fusion?
I really liked it. It's really good. It was very different. To begin with, it felt you were leading the intro into the yoga nidra, before we started doing the rotation through the body. It felt like my body was inflating like a helium balloon, and it was getting lighter and lighter and lighter, and I was kind of like almost felt like I was going to lift up. And then it took, I couldn't quite follow all of the going along, tracking through the meridians, kept weaving in and out a bit. But then when we went into Earth Descent, that felt a slow descent into a place of really being held then. So yeah, I felt really cold at certain points, especially around my knees and in the center of my body, and a lot of swelling around my head until it went into Earth Descent, and then it felt warm and cozy. I love the script, especially the beginning. It was lovely. Thank you.
You really managed to stay with a lot of that, Michelle.
I'm impressed, man.
Yeah, I'm impressed too. How much you recalled. I think that's the teacher in you.
The teacher in me was not all there, but I had a wonderful vision right at the beginning. And it's interesting, Michelle, that we did Earth Descent when I was in like the woo zone, because when I lay down, at some point I just had a very immediate descent, and I just stayed with it very early on. But one thing that happened that was just so lovely, and I can't remember your words, Melissa, but I had kind of a vision, but more of a sensation of being very alert. You know, when babies are, like small babies, are rested and they're relaxed and they're alert, but their bodies are completely easy. And I think you said, it was when you said we know how to relax. That was it. And I thought, oh my gosh, we do. And it's not tension or sleep as the two choices.
Yeah.
And we know it because we used to abide in that space. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're conscious when there's a consciousness when we're asleep too, right?
Wow, I never heard that. We know how to relax.
Yeah, so what was interesting to me when I went through the scripts, and I really dissected them, what stood out to me is that there's shamatha and vipassana. That is, there's directions on how to place your attention and then what you will notice. And I tend to, or I have been tending to lean towards direction. Do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, without much direction on what you will notice. And so in this meditation, I put a lot more what you will notice in it. And I think the power of suggestion is powerful. Some people don't like it, but I think it's powerful.
I know there was one point when we were focusing on the feet that I felt that my left foot was at the level of my chest. And the shock of knowing that that's where it was kind of took me out of it. And I thought, oh, that's weird. And I opened my eyes and saw that my foot is actually down there at the bottom of my leg, not on my chest. So weird.
Where you want it to be, yeah. Your idea about it versus your experience of it. Mm-hmm.
So strange.
It's interesting watching the breath, noticing how the breath changed. There was a lot of pressure in my chest and up into my throat to begin with. Once you go into earth descent, it's just that expansiveness of the breath and then that freedom in the body. But I think for me that the way you lead us through it is that is so important, and it's not like, you can listen to the recordings of the other yoga nidras time and again, but it's still that guidance helps me to relax and go through the different layers, I suppose, really.
So what are you referring to when you say the other yoga nidras, Michelle?
You might say, well, if you listen to practices often enough and you become familiar, that you don't hear the words or you're not staying with the guidance. But for me, that guidance seems to be really important to the practice. It's not, like I said, in the past, yoga nidra's been a bit mechanical, but it doesn't feel at all like that now.
Yeah, I think I'm really grateful that I learned from Jennifer Piercy, because the way that she teaches is just not mechanical. Yeah.
That's the way I was kind of introduced to it in my yoga teacher training, and it didn't sort of mean anything to me then.
Yeah, the way I was first introduced to it too, it was quite mechanical. So yeah, and that was about 20 years ago too. I think that a lot of forms of meditation have evolved in the last 20 years to be less mechanical and to meet the human being, which is really important. To meet the human being in their cultural context. Yeah, because I think the Yoga Nidra, the way that it was originally taught, was taken out of a cultural context, and so I think bringing it into a specific, into a cultural context that works for people at this time, right? It's always about meeting an audience, meeting students where they're at and being able to carry those students all the way through the practice, right? Like, I just think about what the teacher we met with last night said about, somebody asked him, are there any rules for writing a poem? He says, there's one rule, right? You have to be able to carry your reader all the way through the poem. It's the same thing with your yoga students. You have to be able to carry your yoga student or your meditation student all the way through the practice. That's the rule, right? And whoever your student is, you have to be able to take them all the way through the practice. And if it's mechanical, then you're treating their body like a machine, and their body's going to respond like a machine, right? Through the practice. And then we're behaving in a mechanized way, a tense mechanized way. That's not really what we want, I think, right?
I like that idea. It makes so much sense. Because we know each other pretty well. You know us pretty well.
Yeah, I think that's why that oral tradition is important. That's why knowing your students as well. And I really think that we're really beyond this. For me, I've said this a lot recently, is I think that I used to kind of be against having so many yoga teachers, but I'm actually growing to be really for it now. Because I think we need a lot of yoga teachers so that we can teach like this. So one to few. Because then you get to know your students really well. And then you can tailor your classes to those few students and carry them through and teach them what they need. So I think the more yoga teachers, the better. And then those few yoga teachers can teach those few students and carry them along with their path. But like this one yoga teacher teaching millions of students, it's impossible because he or she can't possibly know her students, right? Then you've got this kind of cookie cutter form that's supposed to work for those millions of people. I just don't think it works.
That's so true.
Like, I think the days of celebrity teachers and instructors are gone, and you see it in, I think you're seeing it in the world too, with the great teachers like Louise Hay and Wayne Dyer. They've actually died now, right? They're actually passing on. Granted, there are some celebrities still out there, but I think we're entering a new phase where there's a consciousness that's raised, and it's a collective consciousness, and there's room now for many people to be teaching many people, right? It's not like one person standing up here, with millions and millions of people hoarding after them. It's just not, I just don't think it's feasible anymore. It's too easy to hide out in those situations too, right? And not really expose your shadow side, right? That you can't really grow and transform in those places. You can just kind of look.
Those kind of teachers that I had before you, I really didn't know anything about their lives.
Yeah, they got to hide out too.
They did, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we learn from each other, don't we? As teachers, we learn from our students as much.
Yeah. In this type of situation, nobody gets to hide. Me nor you. Yeah. Right? We all learn better when we are honest about what's going on in our lives, and then we collectively learn.
Yeah, I think showing your humanness is the main thing. I think often teachers are put up on pedestals, aren't they? And they don't share anything of their lives, and it doesn't help students to show anything of their own lives.
I think that's how
it's always been really yoga for real people.
Yeah, well, I think that's the way.
That's why we're all here.
Yeah, I think that's the way it used to be. I don't think it's the way it is anymore. Yeah.
No.
A lot of them fell off their pedestals.
Yeah. Well, and they're not even on this planet anymore. Yeah, and they died just like the rest of all the human beings died too, right? They died of cancer, and I don't know how Louise Hay died, but you know, like look at Debbie Ford, who did all the shadow work. She died of cancer too, you know, and she hid it from everybody for so long. Shadow work. I mean, come on. Craziness. Anyway, we're getting way off topic, and I'm taking up a lot of time, but all this to say that, how'd we get on this, Lucille? You started this.
I can't remember.
Okay, we'll bring it right back around to the topic for this month, which is open acceptance, right? Opening to whatever's arising. And it's, you know, that's where the gifts are. That's where the tenderness is. That's where the dignity really is. Mm-hmm. Okay. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for making time in your lives for your practice and for each other, because it's a really beautiful gift. And I will see you on the forum this week and next week together. Okay, send me good vibes this week. My mom's coming.
Oh, yeah.
Have fun.
All right.
Namaste.
Namaste.